I'm hoping that some of the conversations we'll have today will help you understand why it's important to get your team on the call. Because you see, yes, there will always be people on the teams that don't necessarily pull their weight, but it's also an opportunity for each individual to figure out how to get people to work towards the same goal. So if the team, if you've been told, okay, if all of your team is not present, you will get lower scores, then that should motivate everybody to figure out as a team, what's the best way that we can get all of us on the call so that we're achieving the goal of ensuring that we keep our scores. So you'll start to learn that from now, and hopefully as you go into life in general. But it's an important part. There'll always be people on the team that may not pull their weight. You need to now figure out how do you get them to join you on the journey. Yep. Cool beans. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and see if I can share sound as well, because there will be a video at some point. Um, let's see. Yeah. Good sound and then screen. So let me know once you can see my screen.
Shorty, your screen is up. Yeah, just slide more.
Great. Cool. Okay. So I would like to see quite a bit of engagement in the chats. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it when I'm in slide mode. However, it means that I will toggle between um, full share and being able to see the chats, because there will be times when I want to see what you guys are saying, if that's okay. Tubosun, I know it means I toggle now and again, but I want to be able to see what the guys are saying as we go along. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. The other alternative is we'll call your attention to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Great. So let's go into teamwork. And I think the first question to ask is, when you hear teamwork, what are the words that come to mind? I just want people to drop words. You can unmute and speak as well so that you can, keep me included. But what words come to mind?
Working together as one.
Working together as one. Thank you, Daniel.
Partnering with people.
Partnering with people. Okay. Would it be Grace or Janice who would help to sort of give me a sense of what's happening in the chats, if anything is happening in the chats?
Diverse ideas for common goals.
I'll help you out.
Okay, ideas for common goals. Yep. Okay, cool. So now let's look at what a working definition of teamwork is. It's the collaborative effort of a group to achieve a common goal or to complete a task in an effective and efficient way. Please note the words that I have highlighted in bold, because these are real elements of a team and of teamwork. Collaborative effort is the biggest part of working in a team, because you're all working together towards something. It's not a case of people going off on their own to do their own thing. Everybody is working together to make sure that they achieve that common goal, which is the second element. So sometimes you have people working, in different directions, and it makes for very difficult team dynamics. So it's important that within a team, the goal is clear and everybody is aligned to working towards that. You can be in different parts of the team, but still have a common goal. In fact, that's one of the marks of a very efficient team. The other two words are effective and efficient. So there are teams that are working together and really not achieving anything. And there are teams that are achieving what they need to do and sometimes even exceeding their goals. Being effective as a team means that you're getting things done. Being efficient means that you're doing them with the best amount of resources as well as in the best amount of time. So hopefully that starts to give you a sense of, okay, what does a great team start to look like? I like quotes, and so I'm going to walk us through a couple of quotes to sort of help land this point. So the first one I've got here is the secret is to gang up on the problem rather than each other. A lot of the time in the teams we operate in, sometimes we're fighting, right? Because somebody wants to do it a certain way, the other person wants to do it another way. But the secret of real great teamwork is to gang up on the problem and not on each other. Another one here says a single leaf working alone provides no shade. So if you think about a tree, if the tree only had one leaf, then it would not be doing anything in terms of providing shade. So you can't go off and work on your own and say, oh, I've done great work. And so I should get the credit. No, it doesn't work that way. If the whole team hasn't come together to do the work, then it's not done. One more, I can do things you cannot. You can do things I cannot. Together, we can do great things. Everybody has their own competence area. Somebody is great at math, somebody is great at English, somebody is great at presentations, somebody else is fantastic at doing Excel. But if we combine all of these skills together, then we can really achieve great things. So think about this as you go into your teams. What do I do really well? What does my team member do really well? And how do we bring those things together so that we can actually achieve what we're looking to do? This one's an African proverb and it's very common. I'm sure you'd have heard it before. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Yeah. So it doesn't mean that you can't achieve things on your own. You can. There are things that you will do by yourself. But the real great breakthroughs come from a collaborative team effort. And if you do some research and look at some of the greatest solutions to world problems, you'd see that it wasn't just one person, it's usually a team of people. None of us is as smart as all of us. Yeah. So again, it's like saying, more brains are better than one. I may be very smart and I can do one thing very well, and the other person also can do something very well. When you combine all of that, then we have even better results. And the last one is for the football people in the house. I've never scored a goal in my life without getting a pass from someone else. I'm sure all of you know, at least those who are the football people, know that a striker has no ball to score with if someone hasn't passed it along to them. So I want you to think about this as you go into your teams, that sometimes you are the striker and you need a pass, and sometimes you are the one who's delivering the pass. Is that clear? Any thoughts? Any initial reflections? Okay, so I can't see the chats, and so Janice or Grace, I would really ask that you help in case there are things there that I'm missing. There are different types of teams. As much as we think that a team is a team is a team, there are different kinds of teams, and the type of team that is used per time depends on the organization as well as the objective that the organization is trying to achieve. Okay, so you can have self-managed teams. A self-managed team is autonomous. There's no formal leader, there's no formal supervision. Everybody in the team shares both leadership and responsibilities. You find this very commonly in startups and in small businesses where there's not a lot of staff. The critical thing about this is there's nobody who is chasing other people or trying to get people to do what they need to do. Each person is fully responsible for leading themselves and for achieving the objectives that they need to work on. There are also project teams. This may be more familiar to you. Project teams are created to work on specific projects or initiatives. The members in this team have diverse skill sets. The members also perform specialized tasks. And the team has a very clear objective and a clear endpoint. So project teams are not meant to last forever. They're created to work on a specific thing. And once that's done, the team is disbanded. Then you've got functional teams. These are very common in your normal day organizations. These are members of the same department. They have different responsibilities. They have leaders or supervisors who designate roles and responsibilities. Think, for example, of a finance team or a marketing team or a supply chain team or customer service or sales team. Those are functional teams. And They are working towards certain things, but each person has different responsibilities with the team. And there's a leader or a supervisor who designates the roles and responsibilities. Then you've got cross-functional teams, which tends to be a combination of people from different departments. Sometimes these are set up within organizations to deal with a particular problem or to manage a certain project. So sometimes a project team is a cross-functional team. And these people have different areas of expertise. So you may need somebody who is adept at creating product. You may need somebody who's good at coding or programming, somebody who's good at doing specific things. But these people have separate responsibilities. They're members from different departments and have specific roles that they're playing. Then we've got a virtual team. Now this one, they were in existence long before the pandemic hit, but when the pandemic hit, they became even more popular. Virtual teams are geographically distributed, and the people on those teams collaborate primarily through digital communication tools. They don't have to be physically present. They don't have to be in the same physical space, but they can still get work done. We found ourselves in mostly virtual teams for a lot of organizations when the pandemic hit. And some companies have chosen to stay that way. Some have gone back to work. But we see nowadays that there's an increase in the number of remote teams. Remote teams can be just as efficient as long as certain criteria are put in place. Communication is clear, the goal is clear, everybody's clear on how they need to achieve what they need to do. And you will find as well, I think some of you will operate in virtual teams, if not all of you, right? I'm assuming that you're not all in Lagos, for example. Is that correct?
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
ma.
Okay, so a lot of you are already working in virtual teams, yeah? And so you're going to have to be very creative about how you get things done. And for example, how do you get everybody on the call when it's time? And then there's problem-solving teams. These ones are assembled temporarily to address specific issues or crises. They tend to work on solutions for very specific and often complex obstacles. And their job is to make recommendations to the affected departments. They will typically not be the ones that implement. They will make the recommendations and then those departments would do the implementation. Think, for example, if a company sends out a faulty product, right? It's hit the market, a consumer has complained that they're sick because of it. That's a crisis. A team would be set up to manage that. Yeah, they would make recommendations based on their findings and talk about what processes need to be changed so that going forward this kind of problem doesn't bring rear its ugly head again. So that's it for different types of teams. I think a lot of you are working in virtual teams as part of this cohort, but spend some time thinking as well about the other teams that you find yourself and what kind of team it is. Is it a self-managed team? Is it functional? Is it project? Are you solving a problem? And then you would start to think about your role in that team. Are there any initial questions?
Nothing on the chat. They're just reiterating the quote that you made and then the definitions around teamwork. But no
Okay,
questions
okay,
right now.
good. So why teamwork, right? What are the benefits? Can I ask for some benefits of teamwork? Because I want to assume that even without reading about them, some of us experience some of them. So can someone share a benefit or two of teamwork? Don't be shy. I don't have the names, but in fact, maybe Grace, give me the names of the people so that I can call names and put people on the spot. Was
Okay,
someone
the
speaking?
second, I think the second thing.
Okay, I didn't hear that
Okay,
clearly.
so
I'm not
Pete
sure if
said,
that's okay.
can you hear me? So Pete said
Yes.
we can complete a goal faster.
Okay, we
We
can
can
complete a
complete a
goal
goal
faster.
faster.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. I see Dan.
Emmanuel says teamwork
Daniel's.
helps to complete the task quickly.
I didn't hear that clearly,
That's what
Janice.
Emmanuel says.
Janice, let me help you. Don't worry.
Okay, so Emmanuel
Peace
says,
says you
all
can
right,
complete a goal faster. Emmanuel says teamwork helps to accomplish a task quickly.
Yes.
Ibukun says teamwork makes work faster.
Okay.
Then Precious says delegation of work within a team helps accomplish a goal faster.
Great. Okay.
Esther says, which is an interesting one, I compare it to division of labor, I guess. It helps to accomplish a goal faster. It makes work easier and efficient. That's from Daniel.
Great. And those are all, I can see that, a lot of it is focused on speed and getting things done faster and making work easier. There are more benefits so those are great benefits, but there are even more, and you'd be surprised. So yes, while teamwork helps us work faster, teamwork also allows us to do better problem solving, right? Many brains are better than one. And we all approach problem solving in different ways. And when you have more people with more perspectives, with more experiences, you're also able to approach problems differently and more efficiently. Yeah. Um, Teamwork also unlocks innovation. So creativity is sparked when there are more ideas, and more ideas come through when there are different people on a team with different perspectives, with different experiences and different backgrounds. So you can come up with some really fantastic work when you work as a team. As a single individual, yes, you would have ideas, but when you share your idea in a team, somebody can build on it, another can build on that, and you guys come up with something even more exciting. So working in teams unlocks innovation and sparks creativity. And this is the one you've talked about. It does improve productivity. Effective teams get more done, and they get it done faster. Imagine one person trying to do a job that 5 people should be doing. That one person will take a much longer time than 5 people. And for an organization, that is so much better. It gets results faster. It means they can move on to other things. It means they can get more out of the resources that they're expending for that work. Teamwork also promotes learning and personal development. Now, this is a part of teamwork that I think a lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to. And I want you to think about this because as you find yourself in different teams from now and when you find yourself in corporate and working with people, you need to be open to learning from others. Teamwork allows you the opportunity to learn from shared knowledge, from different experiences and backgrounds, from people who may already have done the kind of work you're trying to do, from people who have seen similar problems. Sometimes somebody is great at doing presentations, and you can say to them, "Oh, can you teach me or show me how?" Sometimes somebody is really good at interpersonal relationships, and you can also sit with them and help them tell them to help you how. Sometimes it's you who is in the position to share knowledge. So you need to understand that teamwork allows you to share knowledge and learn from others as well, leading to personal development. So don't keep your knowledge to yourself. Knowledge is not useful if you keep it to you. Be open to sharing and be open to learning from others. Last but not least, teamwork boosts morale and motivation. Now, when you have a shared sense of belonging, when you have a shared sense of ownership, when you share successes, when you share failures, it creates for, a much better feeling working in that team. There's safety in number, they say. And so if you fail together, you don't have one person who's sitting on their own and feeling bad about failing. All of you can sit together and look at what did we do different? What should we do differently? Where did it go wrong? And it gives you some comfort. When you succeed together, it's even more exciting, because it creates a bond and it shows that you're able to work together to achieve real goals and it motivates you to go on to catch the next thing. So think about it as an opportunity to not only develop yourself, but also find a family in quote, because your team members become people that you work with closely over a period of time. And for you to be a good part or a good member of the team, you also need to be able to be open and share. Great. So that's a summary of teamwork and the benefits of teamwork. Any questions? Any anything you want to know a little more about? Or can we go on? Okay, so I'm going to take that as we continue. So I spoke earlier about a team not being a team if it wasn't achieving anything. And there are different kinds of teams. And sometimes you have teams that are operating as a team, but not necessarily getting stuff done. So there is what's called high performance teams. Yeah. High performance teams are not just sitting there as a group of people working together. They're sitting there as a group of people working together efficiently, committed to delivering on the goals that they have, and holding each other and themselves accountable to achieving those goals. So it's not just about, okay, we're in the marketing team and we're all just there doing work. No, we're as a high performance team, you're making sure that you're constantly improving, making sure that you're constantly achieving the goals, making sure that you're identifying the opportunities for growth, making sure that you're holding each other accountable, pulling each other along, right? And each person in the team has the same mindset and has the same level of commitment to the success of that team. I said earlier that I like quotes. This is one from Simon Sinek. It says, strong relationships are the foundation of high performing teams. And all high performing teams start with trust. Now you'd be wondering, what has trust got to do with my teamwork? But if you think about the fact that working in a team is also a relationship, and if you were in a personal relationship, you would want to build that relationship with trust. Working in a team also requires trust. You need to be able to trust your team to have your back. Your team also needs to be able to trust you to do same. You need to be able to trust your team to pull their weight, to do what they're supposed to do. Same thing that your team has to have. So you can't go off not doing what you're expected to do and expect the team to be fine with it. You may be pulling the team back. Same, you may have a team member who is not quite pulling their weight or contributing efficiently, who would be pulling the team back. Those are the kinds of things that breach trust within a team relationship. Are there any thoughts around why a high performing team is different from just a normal team?
I'll say it's a good place to take interactions here.
Yes.
Yes. So please respond to that. We're thoughts around why a high performing teams is different from a normal team.
Normal team.
Yeah.
You can unmute yourself. I don't think you need to just use the chats because I would like to hear voices as well. I want to be sure that I'm speaking to people and not bots.
Very true. Non-participation, or Alice says non-participation.
Okay.
Yeah, but we also want to hear verbal remarks.
Yeah.
Please. I thought you guys were Gen Zs, oh. This
I
is.
know, right? I'm surprised.
I don't know. You're embarrassing
Abby?
your ancestors, by the way.
Oh, is it me?
Maybe
Am I speaking too much English?
They are coming for you.
No fun from you. Am I speaking too much English? Please stop me.
Dodger says a high performing team will be able to achieve their goals unlike the order.
Okay.
Right.
I want to contribute to.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay, high performing teams, I think they have a clear goal and purpose. They have like a shared understanding of what like the objective of their team and what they want to achieve. And then they'll be able to communicate effectively with each other. I think that's one of the things that sets high performing teams apart.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Peace. And those were really great points. Clarity of goals, they communicate effectively with each other as well. Any other thoughts?
Can I say something, ma?
Yes.
Okay. Their ability of high commitment and accountability. When I say the high commitment is that all the members are highly committed to themselves. They are to the team goals and are willing to do extra miles to achieve all these goals that they set. And
Yeah.
also the accountability is they hold accountable to themselves, to each other. So meaning that all their performance, they are accountable of their performance. So each person in the team is accountable to the performance of the team and contributions they will give to each other. Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic, Daniel. Thank you so much because commitment is a big thing, right? You cannot be a part of a high performing team if you are not committed to the performance of that team. And I liked what you said around they're willing to go the extra mile because sometimes the extra mile is required to actually hit the goal. So when you go into teams, you need to think about what level of commitment am I bringing in? Am I doing the very best I can? Am I potentially setting my team back? Am I holding myself accountable? Am I holding my team members accountable? Am I committed to the goal that we're trying to achieve? Does this goal make me feel motivated enough to go the extra mile? Those are questions you need to ask yourself and then decide how you want to show up in that team. Any other thoughts? Anything in the chats?
Okay, so Emmanuel Joy said a high performance team is different from a normal team because each member of the team has a very high sense of responsibility. They are willing to work and don't necessarily need to be forced to do their duties.
Fantastic. Thank you. That's true. They have a high sense of responsibility. You don't need to chase them to do what they need to do. And that's very important as well. So remember what I talked about, what I said about trust. Part of building trust is making sure that you hold your own and you do what you need to do and people don't need to chase you and you don't become that person on the team that they say, ah, five and he's out, or no, he's never going to get it done on time. Yeah. I saw someone had raised their hand. Um, and I think
Yes,
dropped it.
yes, ma'am, the one.
Okay.
I would say my name is Adiyemi Abdusamad. I would say one of the things that sets an high performing team from a low performing team is that the team, the members are very, very intentional about their responsibilities. So there are times that they might not even know how to carry out some responsibilities, but because they have that intentional mindset that they are willing to learn, so they will be able to carry them out.
Yes, great. So intentionality, and I like that because it's very closely linked to commitment. And you've got intention, you're making sure that you know exactly what you want to do to be able to achieve the responsibilities that have been set for you. Thank you. Thank you, Yemi. I saw another hand up. Victor, I think it was.
Okay, so there are more comments in the chat.
Okay.
Like Wale says, they take full responsibility for their actions. Peace John said they are highly goals oriented. They're goal oriented. So those are the two extra
Okay.
comments.
Yes. Yes. Very clear. Very, very good. Okay. So if Victor is feeling shy and is not willing to speak, then I can move on. I know I've put you on the spot there, Victor. So if you still want to say what you wanted to say, please feel free. Okay, so we move on. All right. So what sets high performing teams apart? Um, so a first set of criteria, they have strong leadership. Yeah. So there's somebody who is really able to set the goal, set the vision, and give people something to work towards. You don't want a leader who cannot hold the team together, who doesn't even have clarity on what they're trying to achieve, and who people don't respect, because that's another thing. Leadership needs to be such that the team members respect that person enough to be able to take guidance from that person. High performing teams also have very clear and aligned objectives. If you ask a member of a high performing team what they're working towards, everybody should be able to say what they are. Yeah, so that's another way to check. Effective communication is also a big part, right? So you can't be quiet, you can't be working in silos. You need to say what you mean. You need to make sure that, everybody understands what you're saying. You also need to make sure you understand what the other person is saying so that you're all on the same page. Otherwise, you may end up making mistakes. There's also a high level of trust and collaboration. So, trust, I talked about earlier. I need to know that you have my back. I need to know that you won't need me to chase you. I need to know that you're going to do work to the highest possible standard, especially if it's affecting the work that I do. Collaboration means we sit, we agree, we work together, we help each other, we complement each other, we support each other to get what we're trying to do done. High performing teams also have diverse and complementary skills. If you had a team of people that only had the same set of skills or only had the same level of experience, you won't get much done. Having a homogeneous team doesn't really help in terms of innovation and creativity, but it also doesn't help in terms of really achieving the goals. Because what if you need somebody who has, for example, programming skills, and you don't have that kind of person on your team, and there's a programming task to be done, then that starts to affect your ability to complete your task or to reach your goals. High performing teams are also adaptable and flexible. Now, that's an important thing, especially because things don't always go according to plan. So you will need to be able to, adapt as things happen. Agility is important. If something goes wrong, you need to be able to, come off it and move to the next thing. What's the solution? How do we fix it? As opposed to getting stuck and saying, oh, everything has fallen apart. You also need to be flexible. And when I say flexibility here, I mean sometimes you work differently from someone else. You need to be able to accept that not everybody is like you, not everybody will work exactly like you, and you need to find the right balance and be able to flex your style so that you can still get things done without necessarily wanting everybody to be like you. Okay, so that's important, and you have to learn. You've got to pay attention to your own patterns. How do you like to work? When do you do your best work? And then using that as a basis, think about your other team members. How do they like to work? When do they like to work? When do they do their best work? And find the best way to align with them. High performing teams are also results oriented, and I think somebody mentioned that in the chats. Yes, it's about the results. What's the outcome? All of the things we're doing, what's the outcome? Yeah. It's not just doing stuff to be busy, because there's being busy and there's being effective. High performing teams focus on making sure that every single action they're taking leads to a result. And then there's strong mutual accountability. I hold you accountable, and I'm also open to you holding me accountable. I'm not going to get upset because you've said to me I haven't met my deadline. No, I have to take responsibility of that, and I have to be able to hold my own colleague accountable as well if they're not getting up to speed. And then the last thing is continuous learning and improvement, because we only know what we know as of today. We need to continue to learn and continue to improve ourselves. And sometimes that means going back to look at where we've gone wrong as a team. What did we do wrong? What could we do better? What learnings are we taking? And how are we going to use it going into the next project? Correct? Yeah. Is that good? Okay, so I'm going to show us a video. Let me see if I'm able to play that. So give me a second. And then just tell me if you can hear sound as well.
Yes, we can hear the audio.
Okay, so can someone tell me their thoughts? Just your first reaction.
Teamwork. Teamwork.
Yeah? Teamwork. Okay. What else did we see?
Okay, in the comments, we have
Yeah.
we have some comments. Hoale says division of labor. Victor says teamwork saves time.
Okay. Okay. So division of labor, I will also take as clear roles and responsibilities. And teamwork saves time, yes, because they changed those tires in 1.82 seconds. That is the world record at the moment for changing the tires on a Formula One car. Now, if you think about the amount of work that needs to be done to change a tire, and then 4 tires get changed in a second, in 1.8 seconds, that's a team that is very clear on what they're supposed to do. So there's somebody who is going to remove the old tire. There's somebody else who is going to put the new tire. There's somebody who is unscrewing the tire. There's somebody who is raising the car in the front so that they can actually have access to the tires. So everybody is playing his or her own role. They even have backup, right? So they have somebody extra who is holding another tire. They have somebody extra who is going to do something else because in the event that somebody fails, there's somebody else to take on the role. Now, I don't know how many of you follow Formula One, but the amount of time it takes to change the tires can really affect the performance of the driver. And while there's a driver who's driving the car, even though he's the only one on the tracks, there's a whole team of people who are out there to make sure that they win. Okay, so winning is not just about the driver, even though the driver has to have really mad skills. But winning is also about the people who are maintaining the car, the people in the crew, the people who are speaking in the driver's ears, who are telling him how other competitors are doing. Winning for the F1 team is a big, big team effort. Okay. So I want you to think about that, and we'll now reflect on the roles that people play in teams. Quick question. Can you rep your teams? I know you had been divided into teams, right? And I know that you were asked to go and work out what the names of your teams are. So can you rep your team in the group? Rep your team, please. Someone should mention the names to me because I can't see the chats. But rep your team in the group, and let's see if we have people from all of the teams.
We have.
Okay.
Oh, and please go ahead, please.
Okay, so we have Elite Circle, we have
Mm,
Team Topaz, we have like two different Team Topaz, we have Team Elite, we have Team Catalyst, we also have, let's see, we have Team Convergence, we have Nexus Group 2, we have Tomorrow's Titans, we have Power Titans, and we have Team Nexus Nova, Team
okay.
Topaz, Team Catalyst. Yes, I think we've mentioned all of the gist there.
Great. I mean, those are very, very interesting names. Tomorrow's Titans. What happened to today? You know, you don't want to be Titans for today, right? Nexus Nova sounds like something happening in space. But yeah, great stuff. So you guys are all, I mean, I'm hoping that all of the teams are represented. Um, I also know that you had an assignment to deliver yesterday. How many teams sent in their assignments by the deadline? Do we know?
No,
Anne or Grace?
we know definitely because it's on the Google Classroom. But please expose your ancestry here. If you submitted, Team Topaz, tell us if you submitted. Just use Team Topaz submitted, Team Power Titan we submitted. Let's know.
Yes,
Let's
Team
know.
Topaz already said they submitted. Elite Circle
Okay.
said they sent theirs. So just the two groups I've mentioned. Team Catalyst said they submitted. Tomorrow's
Okay.
Titans submitted.
Okay.
Then
Okay.
the Elite Catalyst, yes.
Great. Okay. So we
Team
have
Power
some
Titans too
submissions.
said they submitted.
Great. Okay. So now let me put somebody in elites. What did you call it? Elites?
Yes, Team Elite.
Good. Team elites. Let me put somebody on the spot. I want a volunteer from Team Elite. So just unmute and say your name.
Um, Good day. My name is Ulwa Pelumi of Group 9
Okay.
Team Elite.
Great. Bellumi, your team
Yes,
submitted their assignment by the deadline. And I'm assuming that
yes,
you contributed to that. Yes?
yes, yes.
Okay. What role do you think you played in the team?
Okay. Um, I researched on the topic and I sent the materials to, because we're just two in my group that were active. So I sent it to my partner and she made the PowerPoint. She created the slides for the project.
Love it. So that was a nice, good division of labor, right? You did the research, the other one did the PowerPoint. Great stuff. Team Power Titans. Can
Also,
I
so I
put
think
some?
it's also good for you to hear their topics as well.
Ah, okay. Tell me the topic. Bellumi.
For team group 9. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, now I can hear you. What was your topic?
Group 9, the topic is the impact of 5G technology.
Fantastic. So that would have required quite a bit of research. Okay. Okay. That's good stuff. And you said you were only 2 or 3 active in your group. Is that correct?
Yeah,
So is
active in the
that
group.
so when you say active, does it mean there are other team members who are not participating?
We're meant to be 4 in the group, on the group, but only 2 people are active. The others, we can't even connect with them or talk to them. So.
Okay. Okay. So, and that starts to give you a sense of some of the challenges that we can encounter in teamwork. But well done, and thank you for belling the cat. Team Power Titans. I want somebody in Team Power Titans on the spot. So just unmute, say your name, and tell me what role you think you played in your team.
Good day, Ma. My name is Joy Emmanuel from Power Titans Group, and I made research and sent my research to the person that collated all the information, and other people, like the other team member, also made his own research and sent to the person that collated everything. Then somebody did the PowerPoint and the presentation. So we're 3. The remaining didn't
Great.
turn up.
The remain
Yes, ma'am.
the remain didn't turn up. Okay, okay. So do you think, and this is still for you, Joy, do you think, or what kind of team do you think you guys worked as when you, if you remember the different types of teams? So self-managed, functional, cross-functional, project, virtual, problem solving. What kind of team do you think you guys turned out to be?
Cross-functional because one person
Cross-functional.
was good at the PowerPoints, and that person the research. Yeah, let me put it down. That person like the presentation. When I
Okay.
did the presentation and also did the research, yes, let me put it that way.
Okay, great.
Like a
Good stuff.
project team. Yes.
Like a project
Even
team,
project team.
exactly. So
Yes, a
you see
project
how
team. Yes.
sometimes the project team and the cross-functional teams, they're very similar, right?
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
was there a leader in your team?
Yes, ma'am.
There was. Okay, great. So it wasn't a self-managed team. Good.
No, ma'am.
All right. Good. Thank you. So now let's look at
And their
some.
topic and their topic.
Oh, okay. What was the topic you guys worked on?
Plastic pollution crisis.
Fantastic. You guys are doing some really big
Yes,
things.
challenges
I'm
and solutions.
hoping, yes, and those solutions, I hope that you people will work towards, implementing some of those solutions. Because the plastic pollution is a problem, and that's one that I think would be great to solve. But well done. I'm happy to hear this. Um,
Thank
are
you, ma'am.
there any team members of any team that didn't hand in their submission? Don't worry, it's not a name and shame. I just want to understand.
Daniel, you are not speaking.
Daniel, are
Yeah,
you part of a team that didn't submit?
I don't even know because I can't rectify my team, so I don't know whether I am part of the team that submitted or not. I don't even know for now.
Okay. So that's a bit of a challenge then. Um okay, I'm not sure what's happening with my. Can you guys still that's odd. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So I just want us to talk a bit about team roles. Who is letting people in the lobby? Please, can you let those who are in the lobby come through?
Yeah,
Something's up with my.
there's probably nobody at the lobby, so I'm sure it's the
Okay,
network.
okay. So now let's look at team roles. Yeah. So this is a model that shows different team roles where you can be a leader, you can be a challenger, you can be a doer, a thinker, or a supporter, right? Um, the first team that spoke, I think this was for Team Elites. There were just two people working, right? I don't know if there was a leader. I don't know if both of them were supporters, but it definitely sounded like both of them were doers as well, right? Um, and there was definitely some thinking going on. The second team that spoke sounded like there was a clear leader, and then there were supporters. There were probably people who were doing as well, if not everybody. So you can play different roles within the different teams that you find yourself. And I don't want you to restrict yourself to one kind of role. Depending on the dynamics of the team and who is on the team, you will find that you will play different roles. So don't be aiming to be the leader all the time. Sometimes you need to play a supporting role. Sometimes you need to sit and be a doer and learn to follow a leader. Sometimes your role will be to challenge the thinking of the group. Yeah. And sometimes you are the thinker who would sit and say, okay, how do we approach this? All right. So we're going to look a bit into how the team roles can play out. So the leader makes sure that the team has clear objectives and that the members are engaged. Your leaders tend to know the skills that the group needs. They know what the skills the group needs to develop. They are also great at planning and prioritizing. Yeah, they're organized, they do the time management, and they're also able to set realistic targets. Um, your leader will also know when the problem is solved, right? So when have we achieved our goal? It is important that the leader can identify that. Um, and the leader pays attention to detail in checking and finalizing work. All right. So in the teams that you are now, perhaps your leader is not doing this yet. Perhaps they may not feel like they want to pay attention to detail in checking and finalizing work. But as a team lead, those are some of your key responsibilities. The challenger questions effectiveness and drives for results. Okay, so they are able to look at problems and see more than one solution. That person is almost like the conductor of the choir. They can explain ideas and counter ideas clearly to people, and they're always thinking about how to do things better. And I'm sure you will meet some of them who will say, why don't we do it this way? Or I think we should look at it this way, or we can address it like this. And, there will always be someone like that in the team. It may be you, and sometimes you may be playing a different role. The doer encourages progress and takes on practical jobs. Yeah. So these are people who deal very well with distractions. You can't distract them from the work that they're supposed to do, right? They get stuff done. Your doer is the person who gets stuff done. They know where to find information. They're proactive about doing it. They're very task oriented, and they ask for advice or input when they're stuck on a problem. Because again, for them, it's really, I need to get this thing done. So figure out, when are you a doer in the team that you are? When are you a challenger? When are you a leader? Or when are you a thinker? For example, the thinker produces ideas and thinks through the ideas that are proposed by others. Yeah. The thinker is logical, and the person can break down tasks into steps and put information in order. The thinker is also the person who tries to figure out what happened when solutions to problems don't work. And they try to figure out, look at the problem from another direction. So your thinker is similar to your challenger. However, your thinker will be great at solving problems. Yeah. Um, so sometimes you will play more than one role in a team. Sometimes, depending on the point at which the project is, or the work is, you may need to switch between roles. All right. So be open to that. And I think develop your muscles as well to be able to play any of the roles. The last role is the role of the supporter. The supporter eases tension and promotes harmony. Supporters, they work well with other people. They listen to people's suggestions. They check that they've understood the problem. They suggest different ways of solving them in a team. The supporters, they're calm when there's disagreement or conflicts, and there will always be people in that team to say, no, look, fine, everybody, let's calm down. It's okay, let's calm down. Why don't we look at it like this? Or this person, okay, say what you think. Then let's hear from this person. The supporter just keeps everybody chill. All right. They're calm when there's a disagreement, and they're very good at following instructions to get tasks done. And they see very clearly how this contributes to overall team goals. I was going to ask for you to put in the chat what role you think you find yourself playing most often in the teams that you found yourself. What role do you think you default to? Can you drop them in the chat? Any roles coming through?
Nobody has dropped anything yet.
So they're thinking.
Yes.
They're thinking.
Okay, so Adewale just said doer and supportee,
Doer
supporter.
and supporter. Okay.
Peace
Doer and
says
supporter.
thinker and doer.
Thinker and doer. That's a
Then
great combination.
Aisha says doer.
Doer. Okay, go Aisha. Getting stuff done.
Precious says thinker and doer. Esther says
Okay.
supporter. Adeyemi says leader and doer.
Okay.
Emmanuel Joy says leader and challenger.
Leader and challenger. Okay.
Ohale says leader, thinker, and doer. Victor then mentioned that can one play all roles? I think all. Victor is saying he plays all.
So
Okay.
so maybe not at the same time, Victor. And you know what? I would encourage you to do a bit more reflection, right? To really figure out what you play most of the time. So what I'm asking you to think about is, what role do you tend to default to? Yeah. The expectation is that all of you will learn how to play all of the roles at a point or the other. But there are roles that we are more comfortable with. There are roles that we automatically become when we find ourselves in a team setting. So I want you to reflect on what role you find yourself defaulting to, and then think about what roles you find most uncomfortable for you, and try and spend some time figuring out how you can learn to play those roles that are uncomfortable, how you can learn to play them more. All right. So do that kind of reflection and think about it. Right. Good. Hopefully this is useful and you can use this to, sort of locate yourself within a team. Now we'll go to, if there are no further questions, we'll go to some common team challenges. Um, I'm going to put Daniel on the spot. I'm sorry, Daniel, but I'm going to put you on the spot. And I'm going to ask you what you think was the challenge, with your team, and how come the team wasn't able to turn in their assignments for the deadline yesterday.
I can say number one is failure to identify ourselves.
Okay. Okay.
Number one, and number two, there is quite communication gap between us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, communication is a big part. Yeah. So failure to identify yourself, so who is in the team, and then communication. Communication we talked about is one of the things that is part of great communication. It's part of a high performance team. And if there's a miscommunication or there's a lack of communication or there's poor communication, it can really start to make things difficult. All right. Which other team didn't turn in their assignment yesterday? I'm going to need some help, Anne. Okay, if they're not going to own up, then just share what you think are common challenges with the team. Can you guys still hear me? It's very quiet.
It's deafening quiet. Victor, go for
Yes.
it.
Yes, I can.
Okay, good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
I think we, for my team and every other team, I think the virtual team is still a kind of team here doing our project. And one of the big challenge, a big challenge we actually faced was the issue of network.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to make sure that everybody joins in. Just like my team, we submitted our submission came in more like a discussion where we're expecting like 4 team members to come up to discuss, like we discussed together about what we came across while doing the research and everything. But along the line, network gave issue. 2 persons were not able to really join in the program. So at the end of the day, we just had like 2 persons discussing and recording the video and turning in our submission. And I
Okay.
think that's basically one challenge we face. And another one is trying to make sure that there is uh, a very good communication link between us, right? Because at some point, members try to kind of drop in terms of spirit to contribute when there is not uh, nice communication links. So
Mm,
I think I still did that to make sure that I communicate with each and everyone in the group to bring them, like, kind
okay.
of keep the fire burning. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor. It sounds to me like one of the issues was, for lack of a better way to describe it, having the adequate tools to work with, because network was an issue. And then, of course, you've raised the communication piece as well. And sometimes as a team, you will need to find, creative or innovative ways to weather your problems, because that's also another indication of whether you're working well together. Um, If communication is a challenge, then what are the other avenues for communication that you have, right? How do you explore that? Is everybody on a WhatsApp group? Can you set up one? Can you talk together in real time? If network doesn't allow you to have a Google Meets call or a Zoom call, are you able to use voice notes to say what you need to say? There are ways around it, but when you're working together as a team, you can think about how to navigate some of those issues. So let's talk through a few issues where that you can now come across as you work in your teams. Sometimes lack of clarity is a challenge. If we don't know what the objectives are, the goals, if we don't have clarity of who is doing what, those can really mess with a team's ability to achieve their objectives. So if I don't know that we're working towards achieving X amount of sales, then I may be working towards something else. And so it's important that clarity comes first. Trust issues is also a big one. When there's low trust, when there's lack of psychological safety, when people feel like they cannot make mistakes because if they do, they'll be punished. When one person doesn't trust the other and decides that they'll start to hold information, keep information to themselves. When somebody goes and is backbiting his team member and making somebody else look bad, all of these things start to create trust issues within the team, and you cannot work well together in that way. There are also sometimes personality and other conflicts. People are different. There are people who seem aggressive. There are people who are very quiet. And sometimes people don't rub off on each other very well. So you might find that within a group or within a team, there are always people that seem to be fighting with everybody, right? Now, when you work within your teams, it's important that you understand the people that are working with you and you find a way to manage, those potential conflicts. Conflicts could be personal, conflicts could be about values because we all work with different core values. And so you can have values conflicts, you can have philosophical conflicts, you can have conflicts on any sphere. It can also even just be about how we should do the work, right? One person wants us to go this way, the other person wants us to go that way. But it's important as a team that you find the best way to come to an agreement. Lack of poor communication, and I think we've mentioned this already, this can be a problem. If we're not talking to each other, if we're not sharing, if we're not talking about potentially the issues we have, or carrying people along on the progress we're making on our tasks, or even being able to clarify where we are going, communication communication can make or break the team. Yeah. And sometimes people sit in their silos and they just want to work on their own and they're not sharing and they're not talking, and something is going wrong and nobody's talking about it. That team will not be able to achieve any of its objectives. And then there is competition. So internal and unhealthy competition, because competition can be good. It's not a bad thing. But when you are wanting to succeed at the expense of your team members, that's a problem. So you need to pay attention to that. Don't be unnecessarily competitive. Don't be competitive in an unhealthy way. Remember one of the quotes that I put at the beginning: the secret is to gang up on the problem, not on each other. So make sure that whatever you are doing is for the good of the team. If you start to be focusing on yourself and on what you can achieve at the expense of the team, you will quickly create a dynamic that is not enjoyable for the rest of the team. Working in isolation or silos can be a challenge. All right. There are people who prefer to work alone. And I'm sure a lot of you will probably be nodding your head and thinking, yes, I prefer to work alone. I prefer to work alone. Working alone is not a flex. Let me speak your language. It is not a flex, right? Yes, you should be able to get work done on your own, but you also need to be able to work within a team. If you are only effective when you're working alone, that's a potential problem because you need to be able to be effective when you're working alone, but also when you're working in a team. The world is moving towards more collaborative work every day. So if you sit by yourself and think, yeah, I do better on my own, I achieve more on my own, you're joking. At the end of the day, if people meet you and they realize you're not a great team player, then you will be taking off the team, right? And then sometimes people have different goals. So I'm working towards one thing, the other person's working towards another thing, and we're just doing our own. And never the twain shall meet. And that's a problem. So it's important that if clarity is there at the start on what we're trying to achieve, then we're able to make sure everybody's on the same page. If two people are doing two different things on the team, that's a problem. Then there's lack of self-awareness. And when I talk about this, I mean you knowing who you are, understanding your own emotions, understanding, how you react in certain situations. Do you buckle under pressure? Do you get overstimulated when you have to deal with so many people at the time? Do you want to be able to ask questions and, not be interrupted? You need to be aware of who you are, because when you're aware of who you are, you also are aware of the impact of your actions on the team. Some people do not pay attention to what the impact of their actions on the team are. They just want to do their own. And then you hear people give excuses of, that's how I am. Yes, that's how you are, but are you aware of how it impacts team work? So those are some of the challenges. Yeah. Any other challenges you think, come through or jump out, or is there anything from this list that you want a bit more clarity on?
Um, Before they go, I just want to put a bit of process check. We have 7 more minutes now for this.
Yeah, okay. I'm almost done. So, um, okay. So we move. So how do you develop collaboration skills in your own space? You can learn to be an effective communicator, right? And good communication requires you listening to people. So there's something called active listening. Active listening means that you're paying full attention to the person that's talking to you. You're not on your phone, you're making eye contact, you're asking them what they mean, you're paraphrasing what they're saying so that you're sure that you understand. Yeah. You're also listening to understand, not just listening to respond. So you're waiting for them to finish making their point before you jump in. Good communication is a skill that you can learn. All right. So pay attention again to how you receive information. Are you quick to jump to an answer? Do you wait for the person to land before you say something? Are you already thinking about the answer before they've even finished asking their question? Learn to pay attention to those cues, and learn the art of active listening. And that's what I've just spoken about. So when if someone is speaking to you, or rather if you're speaking to someone, you're unhappy if they're not paying attention to you. How do you know that they're hearing what you're saying? If I asked you, okay, you just said so so and so and so, does that mean XYZ? At least you know I'm listening to you, right? If I'm looking directly at you, paying close attention, you know I'm listening to you. It's also respectful, really, to practice active listening, because it shows that you understand that that person doesn't have to be there, but they're speaking to you. But it's good human practice as well. Then there's a bit around being able to give and receive constructive feedback. Now, not everybody will like how you do what you do, and sometimes you won't always do things well. So you need to remember that when people are sharing feedback with you, it's because they are interested in you getting better, or they're interested in the work becoming better. When you give feedback, you need to make sure it's constructive. Focus on the actual thing, the actual task, as opposed to the person. So you're not saying, oh, you're always just making things difficult. No. You're rather saying, when you do XYZ, this is how it impacts me. And there are a couple of feedback models that you can use, and I'll share those um, as part of the recommended reading and materials in the class group. But this is a big part of developing collaborative skills. Feedback is a gift, right? And so if people give you feedback, it means that you have indicated that you're open to receiving feedback. When people are not giving you feedback, I think you should be worried. Then you've got to have emotional intelligence. I spoke earlier about self-awareness. So emotional intelligence is about self-awareness. It's about empathy, right? It's about reading the room as well and being able to get a sense of the situation. How are people feeling? Is it the right time to say what I want to say? If I said it in a certain way, is that the best way? Is this a good time? Right? There are people who put their foot in their mouth. It's because they're not paying attention to what is happening. So you need to pay attention, right? And be able to regulate yourself, regulate your emotions, and also be able to sense other people's emotions. And that's where improving your self-awareness comes in. How do you react when somebody criticizes you? How do you react when work becomes a lot? How do you react when you don't feel heard? You need to be able to think about those and then regulate yourself such a way that you can communicate your challenges in a way that's effective and constructive and not fight. Because there are people who just blow their tops if something is not going the way that they want. You will need to learn to regulate yourself because remember, you're working with a group of people and your actions may have some negative effects on other people. Then you need to practice empathy. So empathy doesn't necessarily mean, oh, be in the same shoes or do, the same thing, but you need to be able to feel for someone. Yeah. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have different things that we're dealing with where we're coming from. Every day is not the same. Every day is not a good day. You have to have empathy, right? The same way you want others to extend empathy to you, and put yourself in people's shoes. What may they be feeling? What's going on with them? A good way to do this is actually build relationships. Ask people how they're doing. Talk to them about what they did on the weekend, how their families are. It enables you build rapport, and then you can find ways to have a shared empathy. There's the bit around honest self-assessment of your personality, your skills, your strengths, your weaknesses. Nobody knows everything, right? Sometimes we think we're smarter than we actually are, and we have blind spots. You need to be able to develop the skill of really sitting with yourself and saying, what do I really know how to do well? What am I not so great at? Where do I need to improve? Who can help me? Who's great at this? Who can I learn from? Right? Because if you don't admit when you have a problem, you won't have the opportunity to learn. So please assess yourself, assess your personality, assess your skills, and always have those in the back of your mind and be open to accepting where you have challenges. And then there's always adaptability and compromise. Everything won't always go the way you'd like. So you have to be adaptable. You have to compromise on some things. Yes, okay, you want things to be done XYZ, but maybe you can leave Z and do XY because the other person maybe not be comfortable. But you need to learn to adapt to what other people are dealing with and also to compromise where necessary. Yeah. And the last thing is building trust. I will trust you if I know that you're doing what you need to do. I will trust you if I know that you're not, backbiting. I will trust you if I can depend on you to turn in work on time. And the same goes, it goes the same way the other way around. Okay. So don't sit and think, oh, what I'm doing doesn't have any impact on others. Or I can just come in late or not participate or not contribute. All you're doing is creating distrust. You need to build trust by showing people that they can depend on you. And that's it. So, any other questions as of this point? Any questions? Any reflections? Any things that you're taking away that you think, okay, today I learned this new thing today. I see someone put working alone is not a flex. It's not. It really isn't a flex.
So we are eliciting reaction here. What did you learn? Three things that you learned. If you do not have questions, then we can ask you
Yes.
questions. So three things that you learned. And put it in context of how your team interaction this past week has been.
Find out your default team role and work on it. I see that. You can achieve more in a team. Yes. Yes. What else? What else, guys? All this talking and no key learnings. Eh? That's not good, oh.
As in, what's going on?
That's not good, oh.
Is it raining?
I think they're trying to like type in their key learners.
Okay, we want the energy in the room now. This is
Yes, so people can speak as well.
yeah.
Are you afraid to use your voice? Use your voices. Adaptability and flexibility. Yes. Okay. Yeah, you have team members from different backgrounds, so you need to be understanding. That's correct. There are different roles in a team. Identify which one works with you. Okay. Yeah. Commitment and efficient communication among team members. I'm going to start calling names. Are we okay? Are we okay if I do that?
You have all the permission.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, thank you.
Great. So, Ibukun, I see you've just read. I was about to call your name. Very good. You've dropped some notes. Busayo Omotola, are you there? What did you take away today?
Busayo, let's hear you. What did you take away?
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. So, from my experience, I took you mentioned some meanings or some definitions of what it means to be in a team, right? Cross-functional and some other ones. So they were like insightful for me. Those were insightful for me. Those points.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Busayo. Ebenezer. Ebenezer, are you there? What have you taken away today?
Ebenezer did not come to class.
It doesn't look like it, eh? He's
He
there,
logged
but
off
he's not there.
and disappeared. Ebenezer, don't embarrass your ancestor, just speak.
Damilare, or rather Damilola Olalere. What did you take away? I'm calling names, though, so better speak by yourself now or type if you don't want me to call your name. Damilola, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. What I learned this afternoon is that one should always learn to carry uh, individual or every team members along. Yeah, uh, in every role or in every decision or in every goal to try to achieve. So we should let everyone know what is behind the goal and what we want to achieve. That's what I
Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Damilola. I'm going to call one more person. Uzoma. Uzoma, what did you take away today?
Uzoma, you're defending your
Sorry,
first
ma.
position now. If not, we'll take it away from you. So just speak.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. So it might be a bit of background interference from my side. But my key takeaway from today's meeting essentially was an understanding of the different individuals that make up a team for successful delivery and how to use my knowledge and my own qualities as an individual to foster um, a complete and productive execution of our tasks as a team.
Great. Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for participating. The people whose names I didn't call, it's not because I didn't want to call them, it's because we don't have time. But otherwise, I see all of you. I see all of you. But I hope that the session was useful. I'll pull together some material and share with Grace, to put in the class. for you to read up on some of the concepts, especially, ways to give feedback, some of the ways to improve your communication. And then if you have any questions, you can drop them in the classroom, share them with the team, and I'll be happy to answer them as well.
What a way to close. Thank you. Wow.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Where are the applause?
Yeah, they're there. I can see them.
I couldn't see them. Thank you. Oh, Peace has a question. Peace, is that
Oh,
a
okay.
question or you're trying to clap?
Okay. It's a clap.
It's a clap.
She picked the wrong hand.
Right. Thank you. I'm blown away. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the knowledge share. Thank you for even indulging the class. Like if I was teaching this kind of class, I would have taught. Like I don't have the energy of this very boring class that you brought up. Thank you. I'm speaking from personal experience. I would have had a big issue with it. Like, what's going on? What are we here for? Are we here to learn? But thank you for even, changing that dynamics and making it happen. And it's really about the topic you taught, which is teamwork and collaboration, being able to understand, various people and the role that they play in a team. If you have learned one thing here, and I'm saying one because I know you've learned several, what would it be? Please put that on the charts. What would that one thing that you will not forget about this class? Please put that there. Let people see it so we can also interact and exchange some learning in that space. So we're waiting for that. Our tradition is, well, starting from last week, is that we call one of the cohort member to give our vote of thanks. So then the person doesn't know, so I'm just going to call a name, and yeah, the person will be put on the spot to give the vote of thanks. So today we are calling Ebenezer Samuel. Are you on call or you went to boil water?
Ebenezer, he spoke earlier, didn't he? So I'm assuming he's there.
Ebenezer, are you around? Going, gone. Okay. The other name I'll call is Aisha Gambo. Aisha, are you here? Can you unmute, Aisha?
Aisha has an issue with her network. She's been going out and
In and out. Oh, okay. Today is a tough one then. Ebenezer, are you here or you are just happy that I moved across your head? Maybe I moved too fast. Aisha Bisoye. Grace, please note the group that they are in. We'll reduce the score in that group. People think that I'm more Gen Z than all of you. Is Aisha here? Aisha, can you unmute and speak? So I'm going to leave it open. One person, please unmute and give us the vote of thanks to our speaker. We're waiting.
Maybe I've
Okay.
harassed them too much. Okay, Esther.
Yes. My name is Oluwapelumi Esther Momo, and I would like to thank Ms. Osato for this enlightening session. We really appreciate on behalf of Port 1.0. Say big thank you to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure, and it was an honor. Thank you to Bosu as well, for giving me the opportunity.
Right. Thank you very much for this. I can't even thank you enough. Like God, say, like the Bible says, silver and gold, I have none. Thank you for your time, Osato. We'll catch up, but we can release you now. Appreciate,
Yes.
really do
Yes.
appreciate this. And I would, for the sake of time and interest, I would also share some of the topics that they mentioned, the presentations they made at your own leisure time. Look at it
Okay.
and let me know what you think, but appreciate. Thanks a lot.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Right.